In the Know for Monday, March 24, the 83rd day of 2025. There are 282 days left in the year. Good morning, MB, guiding you through In the Know at K105 on Litchfield's Country Station 1039 The Moose, live online at K105.com via the Apple and Android smartphone app using the SoundCloud, iTunes, or Spotify podcast. On Facebook, on YouTube, on the platform formerly known as Twitter, and the hashtag is In the Know. Coming up today, we'll update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. Big weekend in sports, that and a whole lot more coming up today here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire, is my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good.
You've been known to enjoy a meal or two, right?
I love to eat.
Well, you said yesterday or this morning you're friends with peanut butter and chocolate.
Yes.
Those are your friends.
I am.
What do you think is the most American meal? People said if you were thinking about what an American meal would be,
Meatloaf and mashed potatoes.
meatloaf and mashed potatoes. That sounds very comforting. Fried chicken is second.
Okay. All right.
Ballpark hot dogs third. But a burger and fries is what
Okay.
people think of being an American meal. It's kind of like that's the go-to. That's the staple. When all else fails, just get a burger and fries. And
Listen, I could go for that right now.
okay, sounds like a date. He is the 5-time winner of the coveted Ohio News Hawk Award. He's the 2-time Silver Sound nominee, covering every corner of the globe: London, Budapest, Rio, Tokyo, and even Litchfield. He's Sam Gormley, and the sports. Morning, Sam.
Morning, Ralph.
How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm just in awe of your wisdom and your talents. And you actually look like you got your chest puffed out a little bit this morning with your bracket prowess that you've showcased over the weekend.
Yeah, there's still a lot of time left, and also it's about time. It's about time.
He's like,
You're saying for as many years as you've been a cellar dweller, it's time to be back on top?
I'm just sad. I guess I don't know if Ken missed the email or what, but he's probably not going to believe it's actually happening. That's the worst part. I'm going to have to send him a picture.
And he has really no way to know either. Let's see. Let me get back to.
I also just I'm looking at it right now, and it does makes me smile. At least who's in dead last, and I think it's deserving.
Absolutely, yeah. It's it just goes to show you. You moved to Ohio County, and it's a showcase. You've lost all your marbles, is what has happened.
We're not naming any names.
No, not at all. I was thinking, I was down 6 or 7 or so, and all of a sudden I sprung into third place, and I'm not sure which pick actually catapulted me up. But right now, we know that Simon, he's not going anywhere because he's got St. John as his national champion. You and I have the same Final Four. We just have a different national champion. So it will come down to, it could potentially come down to that. Although there's not much seed pointing there. It's just going to be for the round. So, but Whitney is in 4th. She's right behind me. Miss Buckles, you had been in last place for most of the weekend, but you are now up into 7th place by yourself.
well, thank goodness for Preacher Man.
Barry Williams is just ahead of you. Chase Blaine at 5th, and then Sam's up there sitting with the Gators. I also like to keep an eye on the max score. So currently still, Sam, you have a max of 362, which is the highest. And
The highest by a decent margin, too.
Yeah, a big amount. I guess I'm the next closest. No,
Whitney.
Whitney is the next closest at 330. I've got 320. But I have a feeling we have similar picks, so it's probably going to be hard.
But I'll tell you,
edge one another out.
the wild card you got to watch for now, though, is Owen. He's hanging out down there in 8th, but his national championship pick, and I think, listen, I think all of us would be 100% okay to lose this bracket contest if it means Owen wins because he picked Kentucky.
It would give me no greater pleasure than to have a Venmo transaction to Owen if he is the winner of the bracket. I'll be happy to.
I think I'll see him later, so I'll let him know.
Okay, we'll circle back to the tournament momentarily because there's a lot to cover. We're going to see a sunny and pleasant start to this work week. Mostly sunny and partly cloudy skies throughout the next half day. We'll see a high near 60 today. We will see increasing clouds and rain late tonight, an overnight low of 43. Tomorrow, morning showers, partly cloudy skies, and a high of 62. What we're going to see this week looks a whole lot like, just a spring week. You know, we see highs in the 60s. We could dip into the 50s for one day, but come the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, looks like we're going to see some nice temperatures, 75 for Friday, 72 for Saturday, 72 for Sunday, but a decent chance of rain throughout those 3 days. And that looks like that infographic there looks like it could even be a little bit stormy as we get into the weekend. But we had, plenty of rain that came through yesterday, just a really big shower and some really, it wasn't like fierce lightning like a summer thunderstorm.
Wasn't I asleep?
Yes, you were.
Oh, okay.
And it was, the lightning was out ahead of the storm just a little bit. And it was the singular, it's when suddenly lightning strikes and then a few seconds later it cracks. Whereas when you get a lightning storm, you see lightning flashing around and it's kind of like strobe lights. And these were like just like, and then you wait like 5 seconds and it just rumbled.
Oh.
It was.
Well,
Sam, you shook your head. Did I get it right? Was that the sound?
what were those sound effects again?
You'll have to turn back the tape.
I think I need those on a hotkey.
Find those.
Yeah, no, it was what, about 9 o'clock last night, give or
Yeah,
take?
and it was just odd. It was just that it was the.
See,
It was like really quiet. Like a lot of times when you get lightning, you think, well, the wind's blowing and it's raining, and you get lightning. This was like just almost eerie.
I was worried because it's trash day here. In fact, the trash truck's coming right now. I hear it right now, and I did the slow peek out because I'd taken it to the curb. I was like, please don't be in the front yard, spread across or something. And thankfully, it was still standing.
That's
You're
good.
all good.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't really want to have to run out
That's
here in
the
the
worst.
storm to take care of this.
Some headlines we got to get to this morning. The Litchfield Daycare Center, where a worker pulled a 1-year-old child's hair out, has been shut down. The play zone on Marion Street was shut down Friday by a state agency, according to the Litchfield Police Department. Not sure with certainty which state agency did that, but the Cabinet for Health and Family Services Division of Regulated Child Care is who is responsible for investigations and such. So the presumption could be that they were likely involved. What is unclear whether that's a temporary or a permanent closure, and I presume more information will be forthcoming on that in the future. A Litchfield man with a history of violence and drug possession-related offenses has been captured after kicking in the back door of an apartment building and stealing multiple items, including a handgun. This happened Thursday afternoon. Litchfield man arrived home from work and found 25-year-old Ralph Meredith lying on his couch, and the back door of his apartment kicked in. Meredith, who had a handgun and other weapons belonging to the victim, fled on foot from the apartment. Officers arrived at the scene, searched the area, but did not find Meredith, although police did recover the items that the suspect stole from the residence. Then yesterday afternoon, Sergeant Keith Harrell received information about Meredith's whereabouts, and they officers traveled to Bluebird Road in Falls of Rough and found him hiding underneath a mobile home. He was arrested and charged first-degree burglary, etc. Right after the show on Friday morning, I heard from Judge Henderson, and when I saw him attempting to reach me, I thought immediately of my comment on the show on Friday that at the end of the meeting he handed out crisp $100 bills to all in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
I figured it was going to be shoved back at that, but it was not. He was sharing the news with me that you might have already read at K105.com, that he has announced, he being Judge Henderson, has announced the formation of an economic development board to modernize job creation at retention efforts here in Grayson County. Sam, you kind of alluded to that, that was part of the discussion on Thursday as a result of what had happened at the city council meeting on the previous Monday. And so you can read Kevin's full statement at K105.com, but I did want to share with you just a couple of things. It says this board will also improve infrastructure projects such as roads, utilities, and public spaces, and will facilitate the adoption of new technologies and innovations. The new board will additionally work closely with our school system to identify the skills, trades that our businesses need taught at our tech center. The next paragraph says we are still in the planning phase, but the board will consist of 5 to 7 members which will be comprised of community leaders as well as aggressive visionary business owners within our community. The board members will be in non-paid positions. And then I also think it's important that we consider this, because it goes back to comments that I shared with you a week ago tomorrow. It says the board will hire a director of the newly formed Economic Development Foundation, and that person will be tasked with facilitating the vision of the board and improving the economic well-being of our community. But goes on to say, we want the new director of the Economic Foundation to work closely with the current Industrial Development Corporation that was formed years ago. So last Tuesday, I shared with you after Councilman Bocock's remarks at the city council meeting, is I used that word. I was like, we're looking at economic development. All industry is economic, but not all economic development is industrial. And so now it appears that we're going to have both. Kevin went on to say that he and Mayor Miller have been in ongoing conversations about this, and this has been in the works for a while as a response to several things, including the departure of Bell Cheese. So I do think if you read his statement, you'll also see where a lot of times you can get the sensation or you get the understanding that nothing is happening at the industrial development level. But a lot of times you might get to the 1 yard line and there are non-disclosure agreements involved, and there's just not a lot that can be said until official decisions are made. Because what happens is it's why the same reason that municipal agencies go into executive session to discuss property sale or the purchase of property, because if that information is out there in public, then suddenly the values, the prices on those assets start to change. And so you just kind of have to be careful with some of those things, that sometimes the information is too soon. I say all that to say it appears that we now have another arm of economic development that is designed to work in concert with the longstanding industrial development formation that we have had. So anyway, I think it's important. I think that was good news received by the community, that clearly the attention has been gotten of people about the future of our job landscape, et cetera. Governor Beshear has vetoed a bill that would have protected conversion therapy practices and denied Medicaid funds to pay for so-called gender-affirming health care for transgender Kentucky adults. There was an event on Saturday that he attended, that it was the Fairness Campaign Dinner, and he vetoed it there. It will not last long. The legislature will gavel back into session later this week for their final 2 days, where they will, at least they say, they're going to override every one of his vetoes. Which does bring up a point that if the political ideology is set up currently like you like it, then you like the math, you probably don't mind. But if the shoe was on the other foot, I think there's a big disparity between the veto powers of the U.S. Congress and the Kentucky legislature. Like, if you want to override a presidential veto, you need 2/3, and in Kentucky you only need a majority. So if everyone who voted for it in the beginning votes for it again, then it has really, I don't know that the checks and balances in Kentucky are equal. They're certainly not equal in the way that they are at the federal level, but whether that ever gets changed or not, I don't know. Cougar baseball is in the offing today, Sam. Looks like a pretty nice day. The Cougars are hosting the Tigers, the Pinstripes from Breckinridge County.
Are they the Pinstripes?
Well, their home uniforms are pinstripes. I don't know if they'll be wearing pinstripes today or not.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's, I guess, the Fighting Whitney Carmens make the trip up from. But right now, I'm seeing here that I might have to do some checking, because I do see maybe that at least in the KHSA, it is now describing today's game as being canceled. So in fact, it has been canceled. So no, we will not be having baseball today.
Really? Okay, because of the rains last night.
I would assume that Don Lee Field is just not meant to take as much water on as it did yesterday. So yes, we will not be having baseball later today. In fact, I now need to send some text messages during the break.
All right. So what's the west of the week hold for us, Sam?
The west of the week on Thursday, we will be getting Breckinridge County softball coming here. So it'll be our first softball game. That'll be a 5:30 start time on Thursday. So we'll our coverage. I know we're going to talk to Coach Rack. We got to come up with it, because we've got our 90 seconds with Napier, as Napier filled in for Nutt. So we got to come up with some, I guess, creative moniker for Coach Rack, Jeff Rack. Maybe you can
I'll give that some thought.
Give that some thought. Yeah, I mean,
run that.
I give props to Alan Dotson during basketball season a couple of years ago. He gets the credit for Stevens' strategies. Like he did a good job there. Kaler's keys worked really good.
Right.
Clemens' keys, worked with when Todd did the game with us. Coach's keys, you get the. I like the alliteration, so we need something with Rack and Jeff.
All right. We'll see what we can find out. There have been 2 NCAA games for the Kentucky Wildcats since we were last with you Friday morning. So it was good to start the weekend with a victory over Troy. The Cats won 76-57 over the 14th seeded Troy on Friday night in Milwaukee. Otega Owe. It was the Otega Owe show on Friday night. And I forgot that Mark Pope had spent, some of his professional career in Milwaukee, and so it was kind of a homecoming for him. And I thought it was really touching and really a really nice thing of him to do. In his post-game press conference, he drew attention to the passing of Junior Bridgman and what an icon he was, not just in Louisville, but in the state of Kentucky and in Milwaukee. And so he had an opportunity to meet Mr. Bridgman when he was playing in Milwaukee and held him in very high regard. So he spent some time, I'll just say eulogizing in there, but honoring him with his comments, and I thought that was nice. So that advanced Kentucky to the round of 32. And yesterday they got away with a victory over the number 6 Illini, the Fighting Orlando Antiguas. And 84-75 was the final. It was the Kobe Brea show, as I call it, there was a period of time where Kobe Brea was just pouring it in from everywhere. Lamont Butler also played extremely well yesterday, managed to score. Butler played well in both games, by the way, but when they needed a bucket yesterday, a couple of times they got it. And so the Cats advanced to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2019, and they will face the Volunteers of Tennessee. They'll be headed to Indianapolis, where it'll be, Purdue will be playing a basic home game. There'll be a big Kentucky contingency. And all the women who chew tobacco from Tennessee will be up there as well. Ask Ryan Lemons. He knows.
I saw
I
saw a tweet from a Houston reporter or something, and he was like, "Well, this kind of we're the 1 seed. This kind of sucks. Like all these schools are really right in the vicinity."
Yeah.
I mean, Kentucky, Purdue, and Tennessee, because it's really not like Knoxville's that far from Indy.
No, and they'll have a good contingency, without a doubt. They traveled well to Lexington. It's a little bit further, of course. Maybe they spent all their money in Lexington this weekend, but it will be. It's a chalk bracket, so it's the way it's supposed to be. You got the 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Indianapolis on. So then,
are you going to go?
No, I'm not. No, I don't. I mean, I hadn't considered going. I can't.
I know you were considering going last week, and this is a little closer. So.
Yeah, it is closer. But I tell you, I have a hard time imagining. I mean, it's one game. Anything can happen. You don't play series in basketball, but this is kind of a series because this will be the third meeting between the two. So if they win, I'll be super excited. If they lose, I'll understand that, hey, we won 2 of them, 1-2 over them in the regular season, and that's just kind of the way that it went. We were healthier when we played them before. But what did you think about the Illinois game? I thought we did to Illinois much of what we did to Duke that led to a victory because they were tired down the stretch. You could tell all their shots were coming up short because we had run them to death.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good performance. I mean, Kobe Brea played great. Lamont Butler played really good defense, though. Amari Williams has been an interesting person over the weekend just because he's had some moments where he's been really, really, really good. And then he's had some moments where it's like just dunk the ball.
Do we keep stats on missed layups?
Yeah, I mean, that was 6 of 14, I know, at one point.
And he leads the team. I was convinced on Friday he had the yips. I thought he couldn't make a basket from anywhere on Friday.
And then he drives coast to coast and dunks it from the free throw line kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. But he'll play much better. He played better yesterday because he got his Weetabix.
Which is not something that I don't think I know.
No, so I like to watch how it's made on, I think it's the History Channel. And so a lot of times they will go to Europe and portions of Great Britain, and they will show how they make certain candies like Cadbury and things. Some of the brand names some that you don't. But Nabisco shredded wheat in the States is called Weetabix in England, and that's what Amari Williams grew up eating. And so in Milwaukee, they found a World grocery store, and who was it from the team that actually went out and bought the Weetabix? Do you know, Sam?
I don't know that it was ever. Probably some GA.
Okay, it mentioned Coach Pope drew it to everyone's attention, and he said they're trying to secure an NIL deal with Weetabix for Amari Williams, but they all had. Even Pope tried the Weetabix yesterday, who said it was awful until Amari let him put some sugar on it, and shredded wheat is pretty awful.
It was funny. I don't know if you saw them talking about it post game, but they in the press conference, somebody asked Amari, said, "Does it taste good?" And he goes, and then Mark Pope, I think, or whoever was sitting to his left, said, "It's fantastic, Amari. Like, this is where you're supposed to get an NIL deal. You're supposed to say how much you love it." Then he goes, "Oh yeah, it's great."
It tastes good for you. I'll say that. It tastes the way, and then you have to go, well, it must be good for me because it just doesn't taste that great. But I have a feeling we've not heard the last of Weetabix. And Vernon Hatton, part of Rupp's Fiddlin' Five, has gone on in at age 89. So obviously a well-known name to the UK Big Blue Nation. He helped win the 1958 title at UK. And then the UK women's season came to an end. They're in historic the Coliseum there on UK's campus, and it was a sad way to win, losing to K-State in overtime, 80-7.
Yeah, I watched the last couple minutes in overtime. Tough way to lose. Amor had a really good look at the buzzer, and it just didn't drop.
Old Memorial Coliseum did look good on TV, though, without a doubt. So sorry to the Lady Cats. Got to get to a break. We'll come back, got more on the way. Hang around here on In the Know.
At Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield, Dr. Priyank Chauhan provides compassionate care for adults and seniors. Board certified in internal and geriatric medicine, he's dedicated to managing chronic conditions, preserving independence, and enhancing the quality of life. Proudly serving Grayson County because your health matters. Schedule today. Call Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield at 270-259-8888.
Yellowwood knows that a five-star backyard is the place to make lasting memories. Like roasting marshmallows on a cool fall night. That's it. Turn it nice and slow. Get it toasted all... Oh, no, it's on fire. Oh, you want it on fire. Okay, that's a choice, I guess. Crunchy. For five-star backyards and the most memorable experiences, Yellowwood brand pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't have that yellow tag... you don't want it.
If you're the average person, you only think about income taxes from January to April. But the choices you make 12 months a year have a big impact on your tax return preparation and even your refund. Making adjustments to your financial matters during tax filing season is like trying to lose weight during a routine doctor visit. The certified public accounting firm of Buckles, Travis & Hart work year-round to advise clients on important financial decisions so that during tax filing season, you're carrying a lot less stress and worry. Join the Peace of Mind team with Buckles, Travis & Hart, 270-259-5604 or GraysonCPAs.com.
The mobile unit from Intensive Health brings trusted, high-quality addiction treatment right to your community. Serving 5 counties, including Grayson, our innovative services offer telehealth treatment, mental health counseling, medical health assessment, primary care, and general medical services. We also offer hepatitis C and HIV screenings and treatment. No more long travels for essential care. We are discreet and accessible. Visit intensivehealth.com to find out more. A StepWorks recovery service.
Thinking about furthering your education? At Elizabethtown Community and Technical College, you'll get a high-quality education close to home at a cost that won't break the bank. Enjoy small class sizes with professors who take a personal interest in your success. Scholarships are still available, making our low tuition even more affordable.
ECTC's Litchfield campus is now enrolling for classes that start May 11th.
Visit elizabethtown.kctcs.edu to get started. ECTC, college for the real world.
OpenAI is facing another complaint over ChatGPT's tendency to create incorrect and false personal information. A privacy rights group in Europe is supporting a Norwegian man who claims the chatbot returned made-up information that claimed he had been convicted of murdering 2 of his children and attempting to kill the third. One concern is that OpenAI does not offer a way for individuals to correct incorrect information that AI generates about them. The European Union's General Data Protection Regulation says among the rights afforded to Europeans through the GDPR includes the right to rectification of personal data. And a federal appeals court is ruling that art created entirely by artificial intelligence can't be copyrighted. This week's ruling said there must be initial human authorship in order for a copyright to be issued. This means that in order for an AI-generated work to be copyrighted, a human must be the one directing or using the AI, and the AI can't be operating autonomously. The ruling upholds a decision made by the U.S. Copyright Office. Tech Report, I'm Mark Mayfield.
Today is chocolate-covered raisins day.
Ooh, big fan.
It is also cheesesteak day. Like a Philly cheesesteak on a hoagie, onions. Do you put peppers on that too? It's cheese and
Yeah, like
onions
green
and
peppers,
And, yeah, throw that on there.
Did you do those for Super Bowl or no?
I did, but I didn't do them very well. There's those guys in Philly that do it all the time. They know how to do it. Like they get it. They got it dialed in perfectly. Correct. Why are you touching your forehead?
Because no, I have yogurt in my mouth.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
All right. So you were probably going to confirm that I did do the Philly cheesesteaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
One of the mistakes that I don't know if it's a mistake. One of the downsides to doing it that way is unless you do a trial run. Like my aunt Donna and Chuck, they always did what they called Thanksgiving practice because it was so busy. Then it typically aligned with Canadian Thanksgiving, but they would do Thanksgiving rehearsal, and they would invite my grandparents down, and so a lot of times they would be able to make dishes that, you go, okay, yeah, this works, or now I know how to do this, and that makes it better. If I had ever done cheesesteaks before, this year would have been a good year. Like I would have done better at cheesesteaks this year because the Eagles were in the Super Bowl because I had done it before. But I just got lazy and just did wings instead. So here are... I ran across this headline that say 11 phrases that our parents use that would never fly with today's kids. When I have a hard time knowing or discerning in this who our is.
Yeah.
Because I'm the age of a grandparent, not really the age of a parent, although I'm kind of splitting the difference between the two. But I do read some of these and I think,
I don't even know where I land.
yeah, it's hard
Right?
to figure out. I don't, these are not things my parents said, but these are things that parents of my parents' age would have said. So, but if you tried doing these today, then they probably don't work. Number one is, you're right, I'm such a horrible parent. I never really heard that from the generation of parents that are my parents, but I think perhaps of the Gen Xers, I think that possibly
I
is
think I have
something.
said that walking away. Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. I am just the worst. No. Ooh, I made you take a bath.
Right. You have it easier than I did as a kid. Well, it's probably true. In certain areas, you do have it easier
But
than we did as kids.
But then there's a lot of areas where no, you do not, because
That's
you
true.
did not have to deal with Snapchat going home and social media. When you went home, you weren't seeing any of those kids again until the next morning.
That's right. And they had other things to pick on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I would argue that it is much harder to be a kid today than it is to be a kid
Amen.
40 years ago.
If you loved me, you'd do this.
Oh. Nobody should ever be saying that.
Number 4 is because I said so. Now, I think that one's not limited to generations. I think that a lot of times just happens. It's, I guess, it's no longer as powerful a phrase as it once was, but I think kids are smarter and they're a little more savvy. And one of the reasons is because they have access to information sooner. Like sometimes I look at Alea, she's about to be 9, and I wonder, and being a 3rd grader, I was thinking the other day, she is 2 years from, after next year, she'll be a senior at her elementary school, right? Because she'll be in 5th grade.
Top dog.
And I start thinking about the access that kids have to information at such a younger age, which forces them to consider things at younger ages than we did ever. And so I just was looking at it and I was thinking, well, it probably is really hard to be a kid. And it's probably really hard to be a 9-year-old in 2025. That's what I presume.
Absolutely.
Because you got so many kids that aren't being raised, that are just foraging around the internet, learning whatever they can learn, picking up whatever they can learn. They're just not shown any boundaries. They're not shown any morality. They're not, and all it takes is just one comment, one picture, one something, and everything is, you takes your child to a completely different place that they would have never been.
You know, foraging back in my day without the technology was bad enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. I know. Stop being so dramatic. I'll give you something to cry about. Yeah, that's don't make me come back here. Do you want me to pull this car over?
And if you say that, pull it over.
Get over it, life goes on. We tried that, and it doesn't work. Life does go on, but when you're that age and you're in the middle of some of the stuff that kids have to deal with these days, and like Sam referred to, some of the social drama and
We
that
learned
type
a
of thing.
lesson.
Yeah, it just it learns pretty quick, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to convey to your child that this is just a short season to your life. Hey, it feels like forever. A year in kid years is 5 years, to one of us, and so it just slows down. But for us, the years go so fast, and we're saying, in 3 days, somebody's going to be focused on something else. They're going to be picking on somebody else, et cetera, et cetera. That's so much easier said than done. That it's it's when they're in the middle of it, it's hard. This one was, don't come home until the street lights come on.
I wish I had lived somewhere that, not really, because I loved living where I did, but it would be so cool to live somewhere that was actually said.
Well, and what I wondered was,
See, my mom never would say that. It'd be
was
more.
it Firefly Lane that was kind of that way. Is that the show? But I think it was more one of those things, living in an area where you didn't have to come home until the street lights came on. I don't think a parent, I don't know, well, maybe parents do say, don't come home until the street lights come on. I mean don't bother me.
Well, I think it's go out and play, and that's when dinner is ready.
Yep.
Come home when the street lamps come on. You're safe. You're not riding your bicycle in the dark. I never lived in an environment like that. So
You can be whatever you want to be. I know we like to be encouraging to kids and tell them that, but it's
guess
just not
what?
true.
It's not true.
You can't be whatever you want to be. You brought this on yourself. Well, you might have, but it doesn't make it any easier for them to tell. And then wait until your father gets home. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that to Dad.
You could flip it.
You can, but it's still not fair. To basically say, well, here's the bad guy, the whatever. There are 11 things. Were there 11 things to that? Here are 11 things that intimidate Gen Xers, but Gen Zers have no problem handling.
I still don't even know where I'm at.
You're a Gen Xer.
Okay, so this is things that intimidate her, but probably don't intimidate me.
Correct.
Okay, here. See, thanks, Sam.
Adapting to new technology. It amazes me the number of people who are my age that do not embrace and lean into technology. Like, I just presume because I do and did and love technology that all of my contemporaries do.
Didn't you go from a stone tablet, though, to what you are now?
Listen, Sam, the first computer in school that I ever was exposed to was in Mr. Thurman Jagger's math class in 8th grade. We had the Commodore 64s.
How big was this?
It was about the size of, it's a good size.
Good size, Sam.
It was probably the shape of a laptop, but probably 5 times as tall.
And weighed
15 times as much. But the monitors were really small and they were monochromatic. But I remember creating the first program. You would go in there and create a formula, and I remember it so vividly. And I presume, well, all of my contemporaries got the same experience and then got the same passion for technology, and they did not. But for Sam's group, new technology, no problem.
Alea's group too. I mean, it's amazing. Like you give.
I feel like a dinosaur now.
Yeah, I mean,
I really do. For someone who went to school for this so many years ago, And now I feel like a dinosaur. And so I don't know. He's still trying to convert me to Google Calendar. No, thank you. Right? I'm over here going, no.
To me, it's just, Alea would come into my office sometimes when she was, 5, and I probably could have handed her our system to run our live stream, and I guarantee you in 10 minutes she'd have been able to figure it out, and I probably wouldn't have had to show her anything.
She does want to work. Sam.
Do you know how fascinated Brady is with screens
Oh.
already?
Well, I mean he is your grandson.
Right.
Without a doubt.
And buttons. He loves him some buttons.
It's just amazing. By the way, Sam, Google Workspace is where it's at compared to Office, isn't it?
Sam,
There are pros and cons to both.
Thank you, Sam.
Job hopping.
I'm not getting involved in this.
Gen Zers don't.
Because I
they
use
don't-
Word
they don't-
still.
You do? I don't. I completely
Yeah,
don't.
a lot of my formatting sheets are formatted for Word, and Google Docs doesn't like them.
Non-traditional learning. Gen Xers like, oh, we got to go to a classroom and sit there at like Little House on the Prairie.
I would think, though, that they would embrace that because at that age, you're really not wanting to get out as much.
That's true. But
Right?
we were also of an age where they had those modular trailers. They had full
That's-
modular trailers on the campuses, and we had to go to classrooms there. That's non-traditional
Okay,
learning.
well, yeah.
Talking openly about money.
I got sent there twice.
Gen Zers, they are. We had regular classes in those buildings too. They weren't just.
Oh, we
normal ones.
had classes in trailers sometimes.
did?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, ours was alternate education.
Making mental health a priority.
Yeah,
Yeah, Gen Xers were much less likely to, talk openly about that. I think COVID has changed it a lot for everyone, though. Has reduced the barriers on a lot of that. Sharing their personal lives online. Gen Z is just out there. Leaving.
see, I'm not that way.
And do I?
I'm not to way.
You're
Yeah,
not that way. No, you're definitely not that way.
That's just your nature.
yeah. I don't like sharing things. Yeah.
Challenging gender stereotypes, demanding actual work-life balance, calling out authority figures. There is a call-out culture with Gen Z that doesn't exist with Gen X. Living with uncertainty, and those are the 11 things. And then I wanted to we talked a little bit about Weetabix and Amari Williams in the last segment. As it turns out, Sam, I need you to look up the name Richie Saunders. who
Oh yeah,
plays
from
for
BYU. Yeah,
Okay, so
he was very close to coming to Kentucky.
was he on Pope's team last year?
Yes, because he came to Kentucky, but I believe his wife wanted to stay in Utah.
Okay. all
I
right,
believe
very
that's
good.
what it was.
So, listen up, Miss Buckles, because this is going to be good for you.
Okay.
Richie Saunders' great-grandfather is Nephi Griggs, and he founded Ore-Ida. He is the inventor of the tater tot.
Okay.
So a kid that plays at BYU that almost came to Kentucky but is playing at BYU,
Okay.
they're in the tournament,
Okay.
and so they figured out that he is the great-grandson of the inventor of the tater tot. So Ore-Ida has decided that for 30 minutes after a BYU victory in the tournament, if you go to Ore-Ida's website for 30 minutes, they'll be giving away free tater tots.
Do you have to pay shipping and handling?
I don't know. And I think they give you a voucher. They send you a voucher code that you use
coupon?
at the store. They send you a
coupon.
coupon,
It's a coupon,
a
Sam.
digital coupon to be able to redeem
Okay,
at the
well,
store.
I guess just shout it out or send me a text if that happens, and I'll see if it works.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Wait, they are still in the tournament, aren't they, Sam?
They are.
Yeah, they're still in. So it looks like, when are they going to play again?
Either Thursday or Friday. They play. I don't even remember
When
who
are
they
gonna
play.
When are they going to set our game? Do we know the time yet?
Yeah. It's the early game on Friday,
Early
7:37 Eastern. I think is what it is.
6:30 Central, sounds like. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got more on the way. Today's Did You Know coming right up here on In the Know.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample Rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology.
See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Every child deserves to feel safe, heard, and loved. Right now, there are children in our community facing tough times, and they need someone to stand by their side. That someone could be you.
My name is Misty, and I'm the 4-H Extension Agent from LaRue County, and I'm a proud CASA volunteer.
My name is Debbie Childress, and I'm the Executive Director of the Grayson County Alliance, and I'm a proud CASA volunteer.
My name is Kitty Smith. I am a proud CASA volunteer from Meade County. You can be a CASA too.
It only takes a few hours a month to make a lasting impact. Your voice can help a child find hope and stability during the most difficult moments. Visit CASAHeartland.org or call us today to learn more. Help us build brighter futures one child at a time.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-648-9174. 800-648-9174. That's 800-648-9174.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
Call 800-989-1647. 800-989-1647. That's 800-989-1647.
K105 weather from the Wave Storm Tracking Team is brought to you by Smith Overhead Door, SOHD.info.
Twin Lakes weather. We'll keep it sunny today with highs in the upper 50s and the low 60s. For tomorrow, some scattered showers in the morning. Then again, as we head into your Tuesday evening. In between the rounds of rain, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds with highs on your Tuesday in the upper 50s and the low 60s. From the Wave News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Tawana Infrey.
Did you know a day on Venus is longer than its year? A day on Venus is longer than its year. So that must make the work week really confusing. So if you go a single work week, that means you get to celebrate your birthday at work 5 times before in one single work week. So I guess what we can learn from that is the rotation of Venus is far slower than its orbit around the sun. Right? That's what we can deduce.
I like that you're using all your science words today.
He's feeling smart.
Yep. Stored it all up over the weekend. The weekend
Did you watch the Science Channel or whatever it is over the weekend? Discovery?
No, I watched basketball and I watched Suits. That's basically all that I watched.
You watched what? Suits? Oh, I thought you said soups. I was like, oh, that sounds like a Food Network show, I guess.
Snow White took first place at the box office, but this says 43 million, considering how they've been dogging it about some of its problematic issues. They say that it did cost, I think, $250 million. That's $250 billion. Oh, eventually, they probably won't take a bath on it, but they only got $43 million the opening weekend. It'll just go down from there. They'll probably be down to $30 million this weekend. What they'll get through, pretty much now, it'll just end up on Disney Plus shortly, and from there forward, it won't be directly related to generating revenue. Because the days of buying movies, especially Disney movies, are pretty much gone, because if everything ends up on there, they'll be just doing it through subscription. Black Bag was at 2, Captain America was at 3, Mickey was at 4, Novocaine at 5, all doing less than $10 million each. We're behind on Survivor, I think, by about 2 weeks, but I saw something on a promo that I was catching up on, that apparently there was some type of major development on Survivor, in the sense there's a promo where Jeff Probst says something about he seems overcome or emotional or something, and talks about this never happened in the history of the game. And I'm suddenly kind of anxious to find out what that was.
As somebody who's watched a lot of CBS over the last 4 days, yes, that is something that I've seen quite a bit. That and I like that Geico has gone back to their commercial from 10 or 15 years ago and is playing that a ton. The pig.
The pig one.
Which, listen,
you like that? Are you being sarcastic?
it's a fine commercial, but after you watch,
I can't.
4 straight games or 4 straight days of basketball, it does get a little bit old. But I like with the YouTube TV multi-view, I can kind of flip around and make sure that I'm never really listening to commercials.
Do you like that Blake Griffin? They're borderline dad jokes, but I guess they're targeted to me, because I think, well, that's kind of clever. But
I just need more Charles Barkley.
I need more Charles Barkley. I like the Peach Basket, like the ones where they're playing the first basketball game with Will Forte. Like those are great. I mean, those are extremely good. I do not like the Clark Kellogg, the freezing up. I don't like the one with Tom Brady.
It gets me.
You think it's effective. I understand that it's effective.
Because
That's why I don't like it.
usually if I'm watching just a game, if there's one singular game, that's when I'm going to look down at my phone or something and check a text message or, check Twitter or something during, and then I hear it buffer, so I'm thinking,
oh no.
UConn is anti-pig commercial, so I think that makes me like it even more now, maybe.
Oh, so he surfaced. He must have heard he's being talked negatively about.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Loser. At the last, at the end of the rankings. Take that, sorehead. Oh, wait, he's not a sorehead. He's a neighbor to a sorehead. We got to get to it. But by the way, the best eliminating line on TV is on Survivor, is the tribe has spoken. Of all the elimination lines, the tribe has spoken is the best one. We got to get to a break. MB's Point to Ponder, Pearl of Wisdom, Chart Toppers, and more coming up here on In the Know.
Are you a clam or a crowbar? That analogy comes from Dr. David Clark. He uses the metaphor to help husbands and wives understand how their poor communication skills have landed them in his counseling office. In many marriages, one spouse is a clam. The percentages suggest that it's usually men, but it can be women too. Clams are the ones who don't naturally talk at an emotionally deep level. They clam up. But every time they do, their spouse breaks out a crowbar to pry them open. It's a vicious cycle that doesn't accomplish a thing except to send couples spinning off into conflict. He clams up, which causes her to try and force him into a conversation. But then he hides and clams up even more, which makes her look for an even bigger crowbar. Unless a husband and wife develop a better way to communicate, they'll end up in a counselor's office, or worse, divorced. If the clam and crowbar analogy sounds way too familiar, I'd like to offer some helpful advice. If you're a clam, open up a bit. You don't have to become a chatterbox, but at least meet your spouse halfway by talking more. If you're the crowbar, meet your spouse halfway by giving him or her a little more space. Also, learn how to better draw your spouse into a conversation instead of forcing them. Good communication is a skill. It's something you both can develop. Things can get better. You just need a new approach. For Focus on the Family, I'm Jim Daly.
When buying or selling a home, you want experience, trust, and personal touch. But they say you can only pick two. Well, with Gina Lastly at Tom Baxter Real Estate, you get all three. With a decade of expertise as a broker, Gina's attention to detail and passion for real estate make her a trusted friend and professional. She goes above and beyond to ensure your real estate journey is smooth and successful.
I'm Gina Leslie. Put my passion for real estate to work for you. Call me now at 217-721-0034.
Discover the difference at TomBaxterRealEstate.com.
MB's point to ponder for today. All right, so Miss Buckles has already heard this one because it happened Friday afternoon. We were in Butler County.
Oh gosh, why?
All good stories start. We were in Butler County. Actually, we were coming home from Alvaton, so we had to go. It's easier to go around and come that way.
Especially
But
for you.
I saw something. You know how when motorcyclists and Jeep drivers, when motorcyclists meet on the highway, they got a special hand signal they do where they put their hand down parallel to their leg. Did you know this, Sam, about motorcyclists?
Yeah, and I know it with Jeeps because my dad drove a Jeep for a period.
Yeah, so there's a Jeep thing.
Yeah, just like do the.
So we were on Highway 79, and two Amish buggies were meeting one another.
Oh dear! I knew this was coming.
So is there a special hand signal or wave for the Amish buggies when they meet one another on the highway? They're moving slowly enough they could almost carry on a short conversation. You know, if they get started soon enough, they could exchange, "How's your mom and him?" "Fine."
Don't they just sing the Weird Al song?
So you had a response. I sat in the passenger seat for and we work in the business of time, right? I sat in the passenger seat for 3 minutes going.
There has to be something special. There has to be the Amish "if you know, you know."
And now you have to play the Weird Al song, right?
On TV tonight. New regular TV is back. NCIS, and I believe NCIS Origin is on tonight. If you like The Voice, that's on. The season 29 finale of The Bachelor. Sorry, you Bachelor fans, your show's coming to an end for the season. Today's highlight in history: this date in 1989, the supertanker Exxon Valdez ran aground on a reef in Alaska's Prince William Sound. Birthdays today: Tommy Hilfiger or Tommy Hilfiger, whichever you prefer to say. Either way, he's still 74 today. Kelly LeBrock is 65. Laura Flynn Boyle is 55. Jim Parsons is 52. So the guy who plays Sheldon Cooper. Peyton Manning is 49 today. Jessica Chastain is 48. Gone but not forgotten. John Wesley Powell in 1834. Andrew Mellon in 1855. Harry Houdini in 1874. Norman Fell, who played Mr. Roper on Three's Company, born in 1924. And Steve McQueen was born this date in 1930.
Leanne says that the Caney Creek Amish do have a conversation when they meet.
Really? Interesting.
I wonder what they talk about.
Yeah, that isn't. They probably might say, "Roadkill right back there. Don't drive over it."
Hold your nose.
Yeah. Skunk. Yeah, I don't.
Skunk.
Alea used to say stunk. Because it made sense.
She's not wrong.
No, it does stink, stunk. Frankie Avalon, number 1 in 59. Maybe they exchange brief text messages when they pass. Bluetooth. They Bluetooth something to one another. Here's a photo. No? 1968, the Delphonics, number 1. All right, let's move on from the Delphonics. Let's go to 1977. think I'd like to learn that piano riff they do. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Let's go to what's that show they're on? That is it Eurovision? They have that show still every year, and ABBA was the winner that year. The show's been going on for like 50 years. Let's go to 1986. The Wilson sisters, Ann and Nancy. You all might not know this, but we fellow Gen Xers do certainly know that the Wilson sisters had the first NIL deal with Aquanet. Let's go to 1995, TLC.
I don't think I know what Aquanet even is.
It's Hairspray.
Oh, dear.
This might surprise you, Christy, but I'm not really putting much hairspray in the old hair.
Interesting.
No,
all right.
That's just kind of like a...
Let's go to
I don't know.
21 years ago today.
Uh-oh. Yep. Mm-hmm. Was it last year that was at the Super Bowl when he did that? I think it was. Yeah. Yep.
Let's go 12 years ago today. Bruno Mars, When I Was Your Man.
I should have bought you flowers and held your hand. Should have gave you all my hours.
I've run out of time for it, but I had pulled that 3 years ago today. Cody Johnson's "Till You Can't" song was number one. I'm just like passively aware of that song, but I've always found that to have kind of a pretty powerful message. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Speaking of powerful messages, stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being excited about what could go right. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being excited about what could go right. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you, and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Sam Gormley, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
The Twin Lakes Best Mix is WKHG Litchfield. The Twin Lakes Best Mix.